Humans, we like to think that we're the heroes of our own narratives, always the center of attention, the protagonists of the movie of our lives. But have you ever stopped and considered that maybe you're just a second-string player, that you're not the center of everything? Sometimes you're not that important. Sometimes you're just the keys to the kingdom for someone else. Welcome to The Context, and today we're going to talk about how cybercriminals use your stolen details to rob companies blind. With all the scams and cons going around, I'm pretty sure you've read some articles on how to protect yourself. Change your password frequently, don't reuse it, how to keep grandma secure so her retirement savings don't get stolen.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
And so on and so on. But there's one problem. You use so many digital services that all of your personal information and data is tied up in company warehouses. And they say that they're doing their best to keep that data secure, but if you've been reading the news, you know that's not really the case, is it?
See, now that's some bullshit.
But why does it happen? Why do companies keep on getting hacked? Fact of the matter is, personal information stored in centralized company warehouses are a goldmine for cybercriminals. They can take that data, go to darknet marketplaces, and find willing buyers who want all of your information, be it birth dates, emails, names, addresses, mother's names, social security numbers, you name it, they got it.
Oh, yeah.
Cybercriminals can take that information, use it to steal your identity, and commit crime. The most basic form of fraud, of course, that they can do is using stolen credit cards to buy merchandise and resell that at a profit.
Oh, hell no!
They can get more sophisticated as well. The trending threat these days is having your personal details stolen only for a fraudster to take out loan fraud in your name. This can hurt your credit rating, or even worse, end up with the repossession agent showing up at your door. So we know that all of this is happening based on the headlines and occasionally by some of the reporting. But have you considered the size and scope of the problem? According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, cybercrime cost a whopping $1 trillion, but that was in 2020. That was 2 years ago. Since then, we went through the digitalization of the economy due to the COVID lockdowns. And if you think that going online was a good idea for everyone, from the smallest mom and pop shop to the biggest government agencies, who were not necessarily the best prepared in the terms of cyber defense.
Or maybe you should squeeze him between his legs so he gets up.
Daiji's got to use movement, is what he's got to use.
NBC News reported that out of the $800 billion COVID relief fund, a whopping $80 billion, or 10%, was stolen. That's insane. The problem of online fraud is enormous, and it's affecting every generation. So if you thought that the Generation Z, who's a digital native, will get us out of this mess by being immune to fraud, you're wrong.
We are screwed.
Hey, I don't want to hear that defeatist attitude. I want to hear you upbeat.
We are screwed.
There you go.
Fact of the matter is, cybersecurity is not a solved problem. It's a continuous arms race between cybercriminals and companies. And unfortunately, as a consumer, there's only so much you can do to protect yourself. There's only so much you can do as a consumer. You have to practice good password hygiene, be careful who you interact with and what kind of data you give out, and be careful on what companies you trust with your data. If you do fall a victim to cybercrime, immediately report it to the police and they'll do their best to help you. Fact of the matter is, with so much fraud going on, it can happen to anyone, even you. So don't bet on your luck, because the fraudsters are betting against it.
Turns out identity theft is a bit of a misnomer. Most of the time that fraud happens, it happens when a company is attacked by a criminal. Our personal details are just the tool to get something else, like high-value items, for example. So this misnomer has its consequences. For the most part, company security and anti-fraud is just a cost center. It's not core to their operations. It's more like an afterthought. This means that fraud runs rampant, affecting ordinary people left and right. Even if the issue is resolved, the money is returned, it can take months or longer. That's a lot of pain, affecting a lot of people. So developing efficient anti-fraud tools is of course essential. But we also have to put pressure on businesses to keep people safe. They are the ones handling the money. They are the real targets. You and me, we are just victims. We're victims of criminals, of course, but we're also victims of bad security. This is the reason consumer protection laws exist. Companies get fined all the time for not keeping them, but technology is always years ahead of regulation. So when fraud turned digital, it also surpassed regulation and law enforcement. We deserve better, much better. But for that to happen, we have to demand better. Us, on the technology side, we can only do so much. Whenever we build a higher wall, they bring a higher ladder. The ultimate power lies with the consumer. You can vote with your dollars, so to speak. You can use that vote to demand better treatment of your data, better treatment of your transactions, better treatment of your identity. Criminals have an advantage in times when the regulators are asleep at the wheel. Lax regulation, lax security from companies. That's why it's a gold rush for fraud right now. But let's hope that's going to change for the better, that we can change it for the better.
Thank you for watching The Context. I was your host, Gergő Varga, and I hope to see you soon.